What's going on, you guys? It is Scott from Fly Rides. I have just gotten back from the Bosch 5th anniversary event, and it was awesome. I'll have a highlights video coming with the best speakers that we saw, but this speaker could not be paralleled. You probably already recognize him. If you don't, this is a man by the name of Gary Fisher, and he is the forefather of modern-day mountain biking. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Gary Fisher's speech at Bosch's 5th anniversary, uninterrupted, uncut, so that you can check out his perspective on the e-bike sphere.
Since then, at that time, it was like the mechanics, the bike shops, man, they didn't want to touch it because they said, oh, it's electronic. Oh my God, you mean I have to train somebody to hire some young punk and have to train them? Well, as it's turned out, the electric bike, what's the hardest part about working on the electric bike? The bike part of it, you know, not the electronic parts. The electronic parts is that, you know, that stuff is pretty reliable. And we saw Bosch come along with, and we'd been working with another B-word bike up in Canada, and the guy's attitude, he was not taking care of my customers. You know how angry I got? He showed me this stupid electric powerboat, and I said, you're an asshole. I don't want to look at that thing. You don't take care of my customers. We put them in a penalty box and we chopped them off. That's what we think about suppliers that don't take care of our customers. All right. All right. You get it. I totally get it. Totally get it. Okay, the other one was range anxiety. That stuff went away, didn't it? It's amazing. You know, and then now, you know, back then 5 years ago, the driverless car was coming. I really believed it was going to happen. But, you know, my friends in the Midwest were saying, that sucker doesn't work in the snow so great. And I know the people down in Arizona throwing rocks at it. And like the yellow vest guys over in, you know, in France. The truck drivers, when we come up with the driverless truck, they're going to jam up our cities. They're going to say, I need my job, right? And then you look at like good old Uber and Lyft, right? That happened in my city, San Francisco. And man, when that first came out, I thought, this is so wonderful because I could see the cab coming. You know, it'd start raining in San Francisco. You call the dispatcher and they'd say, the cab will be there in a half an hour. And that cab is going to pick up the first fare he sees because good chance you're going to pick up the first cab you see. You stiff each other, right? You know, and everybody had the experience. A half hour later, you call up and say, I got to get my cab. And like, man, what a stress-orama. We want to get rid of stress in our lives, don't we? I mean, God, we live in way too much stress. So that thing came along, it was great. Then those guys discovered something else. Anybody can drive. And they drove the price down. So it cost me $120 to take a regular cab from my house to the airport. When Uber came along, you know, you get a black car, $130. Then anybody could drive program, $57 to get down there. Okay, but we thought this was all going to be great. The people in San Francisco, we hate it because of 40 to 50,000 extra cars a day, every day in San Francisco. And these guys drive like this. It's become more dangerous. It's taken away from our transit ridership, and it's also, you know, it's made the city even more dangerous. San Francisco, New York, they're really freaking out right now. There's so many deaths. I mean, we haven't reached the zero death thing. And then in the meantime, you got guys like Bird, and they come out, and they're valued, I mean, people putting down big bucks, right? Billions of dollars, the kind of money we've never had in the bike industry. And they're putting down billions of dollars, and these guys, I love it. They say, why is there a car in every single street? I don't think it ought to be that way. And I'm thinking too, it's like, this thing we call a bike path, a lot of them are way too narrow, because there's a lot more users. They need to be redone. And I'm thinking a revolutionary thought. Okay, we got the Bay Bridge. You know, it comes to San Francisco from Oakland. If you ever been on that bridge during the wrong times of days, you're crawling along. It's okay. They got a bike path that goes from Oakland, goes halfway across. And it's only open on weekends. And it doesn't go the last 2.5 miles to San Francisco from Treasure Island. So you can't get there. Okay, here's what you do. You take a lane, 11.5-foot wide lane. It's got 14 foot or 16 foot in the Bay Bridge. You take and you make a double-decker bike path, right? You go one direction, you go the other direction, the upper one. You would be amazed. It's just like a windmill. The old days, the windmill had a lot of blades. Nowadays, it's just got 3 blades. Aerodynamics, and we know about aerodynamics. You put people on a bike in a tube going the same direction, you're going to create a tailwind. Your own tailwind, you know? That's crazy. And it's like you'll deliver more people. So here's the thing, it's like, I challenge you and the science of how many people can you move? What's this lane called? Not a bike lane. It's a high capacity lane. A lot of people, sends a lot of people. It's just like they finally got the bus system working in New York City, where they dedicate a lane to the buses, nobody else gets in there. And they got the technology where like, man, we're gonna ticket your car. We take photographs of your car, it's in the wrong lane and everything, you get nailed, you get a ticket, you can't get away from it. You know, things are changing, technology that way. That's starting to happen, but it's like, we're in a mess, you know, and change happens slowly, and then it happens fast. And you can see the change happening like crazy. And I see it like the automobile thing. I mean, oh my God. You think about what the automobile guys did. 1930s, 1932, Chairman Sloan of General Motors addresses his shareholders and says, only 10% of the American people drive an automobile. Quite honestly, only 10% need to. We have a plan to change it. And indeed, they did. They formed a consortium, Standard Oil, Mack Truck, Firestone Tire, and General Motors. They bought up 87 different rail entities within the United States. Then they lowered the services. Instead of a trolley every 2.5 minutes, it'd be every 10 minutes. Instead of a train every 20 minutes, it'd be every hour and a half. Convenience, my friend, drives things. And ridership went down. All 87 went into receivership. And then for a forgiveness of debt, they would turn over the right-of-way to the municipality under the visa that you tear out the tracks and pave them over. Mack Truck was going to make the buses. And it was amazing that they did this and they got away with it, although the government, US government in 1947, found them all guilty of a conspiracy. The individuals were fined $1 each and the corporations $5,000 each. And we had a saying at the time, what's good for General Motors is good for the nation. But you know, life is full of unintended consequences. And at 1.3 passengers per automobile, it doesn't work. It doesn't move people around. We have these traffic jams. There's not a single city in the world where the automobile, the private automobile, has worked as transport. Man, it's a lot of fun. It's incredible. And when you think about the automobile guys, what they did is like, it used to be, you would buy a trolley ticket, you would buy a train ticket. And they convinced you that you want to buy the car, pay for the fuel, the insurance, the maintenance, the parking. Guess what? You get to drive. And people said, I'm an American, I love this. And when I was a child, they would tell us, kids, you're going to spend your most money on your car, your house, the second amount of money on your car. And I look at the kids today, those kids today, and they're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever could imagine. I'm going to spend that money on like food, travel, my house. I'll get a zip card. I'll do Uber and Lyft. And the other guys are going to say, electric scooter? Okay, let's go, man. Let's go do it and everything. So I think I look at like Bird, they hired Paul Steely White, well-known advocacy guy out of New York City. And it's like, it's time for us to go to all those guys and say, dude, pony up. We need the money. How do you do business in the United States? How do you do business? This is what you do, and this is what a big corporation does. And they're fools if they don't a lot of the time. You go, thank you, Mr. Democrat. Thank you, Mr. Republican. This is called a campaign contribution. It's totally legal. And in the U.S., you say, thank God there's only 2 parties. And you're a fool if you don't. And that's the way it goes these days. Cities like San Francisco, my dear city, New York, LA, you trust the cops? Are you out of your mind? Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? You go to the small communities, the cops are honest, the politicians are honest. Sort of the further you go up the food chain, the more corrupt it gets. Okay, those are lessons in life. Is it fair? No. Do we have to use good strategies? Absolutely. Do we use psychology? Absolutely. Propaganda? Yes! My grandfather did propaganda films in World War II for Warner Brothers. The communists did them, they had film studios, so did the Nazis. How do you move minds? Film, dude. Really good film. Really good writing. Really good photography. The media. I love the media. You know, it moves minds. I've always worked with it, everything. That's what we got to do here. Because right now, it's a lot of change. And it's a street fight. Like I've been going to Uber Mobility. I went to one in Paris, year before last, Autonomy, and all the guys are there, including me, the guys from Airbus that are doing a flying car. And I checked those guys out. I'm like, there's a guy from the Netherlands that said, no way, you can bring that into our place, those things make disgusting noise. And I told him, well, you know, it's just like Harley. They figured out a noise that's really cool. Just figure out a noise that's really cool, guys. You know, you can do it, but it's crazy. You get all this stuff. It's a big fight. It's a street fight right now because people realize the old system doesn't work. The problem in the United States is we're so incredibly indebted to our old system. You know, 1956 was a great year for the United States. We had, you know, gone through World War II, and all of our industrial competitors had been literally flattened. We had no competitors compared to today. If you think of going back to 1950s, forget about it. No way. And in 1956, we spent more money on a single project in the United States than we ever had previous or ever have since. The interstate freeway system. And I'll tell you, it's like my father, who was a big-time architect in San Francisco, he designed 1/3 of Orange County. Oh, we made some money, you know? It was the freeways are good to me, this kid right here, you know? But at the same time, we all know what they did to our cities. You know, we all know that stuff, and it's really hard. And that's what's incredible. You watch the tour of California on TV, and you know, you watch it from the helicopter, and you go like, and you watch the European version, and you go like, man, we got a lot of pavement here in California, you know? And what are we going to do with it? You know, and 1/3 of American cities are parking lots. That's incredible. San Francisco now just started this year. You're going to build an apartment building with 0 parking. That lowers the cost of that apartment by about 30%. You know, there's a lot going on politically. You know, the old guys like me are like, shit, we need more lanes. We need more work on the freeways. How come you guys have stopped spending on this? What's with this, you know, high-speed rail and stuff? That's a joke. It doesn't work, you know. That's propaganda that's affected these guys, you know, because it's like, man, you go to Japan, you do the Shinkansen, right, the bullet train. That sucker, man, it goes up and down the spine. You go, it's 320 miles from Osaka to Tokyo. There's a train every 10 minutes. It does it in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Its average deviation from on time is less than 10 seconds. Now, you want to know the impressive fact? This system has been in place, started in '65, and is spread out all over the country. They're still working on their first death. Their first death. It's like, and we put in a train in Northern California, and we do all these level crossings. Bullshit. We cheaped out. You get all the rapid transit and all this stuff, we're cheaping out, we're cheaping it down. That's like our bike pass, we go for, okay, we'll just put in a narrow thing, we'll do a sharrow. We're getting gypped. You know, I got a lot of faith in the young people. We're dying off. My generation. Thank God, I gotta say. You know, we gotta make this leap and working for politicians. The politicians that know about this thing called the induced demand. You put in more lanes, it just creates more traffic and more bullshit. And it's really a funny political thing. You see, they're backpedaling on all the highway improvements, and they want to do the trains and stuff like that, but still the voters are the old people. And, you know, we learned in the last election, better show up and vote, my friend. You know, so we hope things will change. So I'm still very, very excited and about the future. And I know we're going to do well. I know we're going to win with this thing, you know. I love technology, good tech. I love what you guys are doing. You know, all these objections are being swatted down, you know, piece by piece. I live in Marin County now. I moved back to the county. And last year, County of Marin, the Board of Supervisors said, well, we're going to have a meeting and we want to ban e-mountain bikes. So they had this meeting, and a bunch of old guys showed up and said, hey, we don't have any problem. Nobody ever has a problem with us, and this has been really good for our health. And the county said, oh, okay, we'll make them legal. And they did. So that's to say, make change in the smaller, more local communities. Show up to the meetings. These guys are writing the papers and stuff. They put all that, you know, they're just doing the thing, all the letters to the editors. Ignore those guys because they don't show up to the meetings. Show up to the meetings. Have people show up. It's like we're opening up with a bike path on the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge. And there's been all these comments of like, oh man, you're going to get blown off of that bridge. There's so many winds. Bullshit. And there are even bike friends of mine saying, yeah, it's super windy, isn't it? No. Golden Gate Bridge is much windier. You know? You're an idiot. These guys are idiots. I'm telling every bike coalition in the Bay Area, man, we need people. Many bike riders we can to show people like we're there. And like, I love the thing, you know, you get into like a big ass traffic jam and it's a space and you come by and you got a team of 8 riders all in your team jersey and stuff on the e-bike speed pedelecs and you come right by everybody. You know, and this is the thing, we got to show by example. And what do people want? What sells in the United States? Convenience, speed, convenience, speed. You know, it's like, why are these cargo bikes so incredibly cool? Man, I use one in San Francisco, I get all the errands done. Boom, 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 boom. Just come right to the place in the park, you know, right there, you know. None of this circulating bullshit, you know. People have figured out that thing gets the job faster, gets the job done faster. That's what we're pushing. And it's like I'm talking to your new marketing people here at Bosch. Bosch speaks and citizens will listen. The media will print Bosch's stuff. Why is the world's largest automotive accessory parts getting into e-bikes? There you go. There's a hook. Why? You know, and there's a number of these, and this is press and PR. This is how the mountain bike works. I went out, my mother, you know, she grew up in Hollywood. My grandfather, Hollywood, you know, he worked for Hal B. Wallace, the seminal publicist. And my mother used to teach me how to get publicity. And she said, Gary, and she's 90 years old, she still says, Gary, you're doing their job for them. You're creating content. You're creating content. The content must be of highest quality, and the content must be relevant. And it must be not selling, you know, obviously selling your product. And it works. And man, I got my little tiny company and all these mainstream magazines. I mean, you know, like Newsweek, like Scientific American, like, I mean, you name it, man. I go down to the newsstand. I had the ABC book, you know, of all the circulations. Look for a nice thick magazine, great circulation, great ad ratio. I just start cold calling. You know, hey, I got a story for you. I got this, and it fucking worked. Put the whole thing on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did this thing happen? It's like, I didn't invent anything, really. People rode off-road 100 years ago. There were no paved roads. What's new about this? Well, it's super exciting and tons of fun. The best salesperson I ever had would say, I discovered this. I've never been so happy in my life. I would love to share this with you. You've come to the right place. That was it. And that's, you know, we're figuring it out. It's like we've been, you know, Trek, we've been getting really heavily into retail and the science of it. And we don't have to invent any of it. It's already been invented. We're just bringing it to bike. That's all. It's really simple. And same with the publicity and things like that. When I first started going to Trek, I mean, we had 2 people in marketing. That was it. And the boss, Dick Burke, you know, John's father, he was famous. This is a story. Forbes did a story on it, you know, the big business magazine. We're sending a photographer from New York, you know, to take some photographs. And the photographer shows up in Wisconsin, and Dick says to him, "I'll give you 3 shots." The photographer goes, click, click, click. Dick goes, out of here. He's gone. Because Dick didn't believe in marketing. You know, he says, high quality product, treat your customer correctly. And you know something? There's a lot to that. That was huge. And you look at Trek, I mean, that's been our golden nugget, man, because we take care of our customer. You know, like we take care of them. And you know, like our major competitor, good old Specialized. I mean, they're good friends of mine. Mike is a good old friend of mine. And his is, you know, we're too cool for school. If you're cool enough, you can come and deal with us. And that works too, you know. And we got a lot of lifers. A lot of people have been over 20 years in our company. And he gets people in and works them really hard and they leave. You know, both systems work in a way, you know. But at any rate, it's marketing is a huge part of the whole thing. And Mike has done a tremendous amount of marketing. You look at Rafa, they know what they're doing on that whole thing. The sensibilities are correct. And it's like you can no longer just take your product, lay it on the table and expect it to sell itself. There's just way too many other things, other noise that's going on in our lives. So anyway, I don't want to digress too much further. I've already been digressing off into different places, but we're still the shit. We're still going to be the stuff coming up. You know, this is the next big thing. And it blows me away, all the different styles of bikes and different ideas coming up behind this. And you look at like, I mean, how did this happen? I mean, the bikes became legal in a lot of wilderness areas all of a sudden. You know, the politics are strange and everything, but that worked out. You know, the naysayers were wrong a lot about this stuff. And the Forest Service guys are going like, this is a righteous tool. This is a good tool. We're going to save money. We're going to save lives. You know, like the Forest Service guys, what they love the most is like, you can hear your victim. You come in a helicopter, a motorcycle, an ATV, well, you got to turn it off. You can't do it on a helicopter. You can't hear a person. The e-bike, you totally. It's like, it's so quiet. You can hear somebody screaming. They love that idea. You know, it's like there are things that were opening up that we had no idea. But, and then the health aspect, because the health aspect, I worry. It's like you look at Bird. They come out with this scooter, right? Did you see the one you sit on? And hey, there are no pedals. There's no crankset. There's just a little bar that you put your feet on, right? There's no chain. There's no derailleur. There's no gears. This thing's going to be cheaper, right? And it could outsell my product, right? But my product has one thing, health. And we talk about that. United States, 18% of gross domestic product is spent on health care. All the other big countries, it's between 9 and 11%. That spread of between 11 and 18% of United States gross domestic product is actually a bigger number than our Chinese debt service and our federal debt services combined. Do the math, my friend. 1/3 or 30% of our 10-year-olds are pre-diabetic. And for the first time in American history, lifespan's going south. And I'm an American. This is a crisis. To hell with it. I'm not standing for it. Are you standing for it? I've got a solution. Do you have a solution? I'd love to hear your solution. I have a solution. And that's what we're going with this. It's about health, my friends. It's about health. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I got a friend, my friend David Jacobs. And David is a geek, and David made tons of money. And David, he had a kidney transplant about 5 years ago. He was disgusted with the system. So he created a new one. 14 different parameters to line up all these different kidney patients, and they do all these transplants at once. He revolutionized the system. I love David. David is third time around with cancer, man. And I got on one of our power flies 3 months ago, and I saw him 3 weeks ago, and that guy looks great. And I go, what the hell? And he says, yeah, I'm a black man. And everybody, my doctors are saying, whatever you're doing, keep doing more of it. And like, man, all I wanted was to get a few more months of like happy life for David, you know, and it looks like it's going to be a few more years. We possess an incredible secret for happiness, for health. You know, now, there's in this medical paper, it says this motion, skater does it, skier does it, surfer does it, bike rider does it, dancer does it. Makes us happy. People, you know, people in cars, they see us on our bikes and they say, get that stupid smile off your face. Hey, I'm just happy, dude. This world needs more happiness. So with that, I'm done, you guys. Today, but I'll be around, and I love you guys.